All right, Chris Dugan here now, joined alongside Coach Dave Duffy, or I guess former Coach Dave Duffy, now with the football team. Thanks for joining us, Coach.
No problem. Glad to be here.
So we're going to start it off by when somebody asks you about Needham football, because you've been involved as a player, coach. So when somebody walks down the street and asks you, "Hey, Coach, what does Needham football mean to you?" and describe it, how do you describe it?
I describe it as a family. A long tradition of pride and excellence. Played by great kids in Needham. It's there's a lot of positive things about it, and we're proud of it.
What was the most rewarding part? We've talked about this many times, but what was the most rewarding part about being the coach and being able to lead your team week in and week out? What did you look forward to?
I think the day-to-day interaction with the kids. Talking to the kids every day, coaching them every day. Seeing them grow from freshmen up till seniors, and then coming back. When they're in college and coming up to see us. So the day-to-day interaction with the kids. It's from great families around Needham. It's just been a pleasure to work with them. I have 3 teenagers now, and I think I learn more from the kids than they learn from me. And it was just, lifelong friendships that you develop with, some of the kids, and, just seeing how they progress through life and do great things. So that's what I'll miss the most. I'll definitely miss that the most, but I'll try to keep my hand in a little bit, so I don't get too bummed out about not being there.
Being able to see these teenagers develop, like you said, when no matter who it is, from star player to player that's going to contribute or a manager or anything like that, what to you, stands out in their development? You've mentioned that so many, but you see them on a different level, just not just academically, but out there and on the football field, but also in a life sense. So what do you think about when you think of their development there?
I think that's the best part of it. Whether you win a game or lose a game, that depends on a lot of different factors. But it's how they handle it, how they treat their teammates, how they handle winning and losing, how they prepare to win every day, how hard they work. Those are life lessons that are going to pay off. If you're a great teammate, you work hard and you study hard, you're going to be successful in life. And those are the things we look to build every day.
What separates, people might ask a lot of football coaches or football players just in general, what separates maybe football from other activities or sports that, builds that connection? Because, we saw it in a couple interviews that you've had and maybe a couple years back to the Fenway game, when talking about your connection to these players, especially on a day like Thanksgiving. But the connection that you build, how is football able to just strengthen that?
I think it's different, and not to badmouth any other sport, because I played a bunch of different sports besides football myself. But football, it's a contact sport. There's a lot of hard hitting. It's very hard. You're out there. You got pads on in the heat or the cold, or the rain, like we had last year a few times. And it builds character. It builds trust amongst your teammates. You have to work hard to be ready. You don't you got 10 guys out on the field with you. You don't want to let any of those guys down. So you're really pushing yourself to the extremes, and it's definitely a different sport than any other sport, and it builds, lifelong friends, and and traits that you pick up playing football continue on the rest of your life.
All right, so now to the big question that everybody's been waiting for. I want to ask. Your retirement announced, on late July. When you look back into it, or if anybody asks you, what kind of went into your decision, and how did you know now, okay, was it time for you to step away?
Well, it was a lot of family and personal decisions, and it was like 5 or 6 little things that kind of added up. And one of the things that led into my decision is the coaches we have on the staff are so good, and if they continue on in years from now, if they continue on. That'll be a good legacy for me to pass on, like Mr. Johan passed on to me. I think the team's going to be good. We have over 115 kids in uniform. We got a lot of brand new equipment, and I think that this team's in a great place for me to leave. And I think the easiest person to replace on the staff was me. And I think they're going to do great things and be very successful, and I'm very proud of them.
What was your message? Obviously you can share what you want to share, but what was your message? We were told that, on that Thursday night, you told your team and told the seniors. What was your message to these guys, and, as kind of maybe going into their senior year? Again, and besides just the seniors, the whole team in general, what was your message to them?
I haven't talked to the whole team yet. I talked to most of them. My message was, you're going to be fine. We haven't had much change around here in 35 years. Mr. Johan's 15 years and my 20 years. But change does happen. Some schools in 35 years it could have 15 head coaches. They could have 10 head coaches. So Needham's not used to a lot of change, but they'll be fine. They'll be fine under Coach Kopsko. He'll do a great job. He's a great motivator. He's a great defensive coordinator, and they'll be fine. That's what I keep reassuring them, And they've worked hard. They're going to be ready to play.
What are your, when you look back, I've asked you this multiple times too, and you always kind of give me that answer is like there's too many to remember. But if, looking back at certain memories, or maybe what aspects of those memories, when you look back, are kind of stick with you the most?
I'm not going to mention any individual players because they've all been great to me, no matter how good they were. But playing at Gillette and for the Super Bowl, and playing a great game, and playing at Fenway Park and beating Wellesley in another great game. Going to our first playoff game in 2001. That was a great experience. Needham had never been to a playoff game before. And just making the playoffs, winning the league. All those years, and going to the playoffs, and having great kids. There's been some bad weather games that we remember, we'll never forget that we thought we had hypothermia for most of the players. We won on a last-second field goal down at Weymouth one night, and it was so cold and rainy and snowy and sleeting, and that the younger kids, the sophomores, as soon as the ball went over the crossbar, they sprinted for the bus. And that's when I knew we had a bunch of smart kids in the team, because that was a great move on their part to get through the night.
When it's kind of funny that you mentioned that, because I think one of a trait that I've heard from a lot of people and I've kind of seen, at least in my years here, is that the tough guy, maybe, or mentality, whatever view, and I don't say that in a light way, but I mean you're always wearing shorts, man, or like a lot of times you're wearing shorts out there. Are there any times where you question your sanity out there in terms of?
Yeah, there's been a few moves. That it was when I was younger and I had more energy to yell and scream and jump up and down. Now I try to talk through it, but when you're in charge of 115 teenage boys, I mean, you tend to get frustrated sometimes, and things can get out of control. But just recently, since I've had some health issues, I've toned it down a little bit. But no, it's been a great run. The kids bring out the best in you.
I'll mention all those memories and all those times. Looking back now at this year, here, final year, you go 5-2 in the regular season. You make it to the sectional semifinals, and we were talking, beforehand about how kind of funny it is, and at least in football, to say the sectional semifinals and all that. But a lot of ups, a lot of downs through in this past year, and I think it's describes football well. But what's going to stick out, or when you look back at this year now recently, what was it like this year? Because like I said, there were a lot of highs and a lot of lows.
Yeah, I mean, we were undisciplined a little bit, and in a loss here and there. But overall, we won the league again, and that's our league champs for the Bay State League. Carey was great, and then to beat Brockton in a playoff game, that was one of my best memories ever. I mean, the kids that I played football with in high school, they were calling me up and texting me saying, "We can't believe you guys beat Brockton," because they were so good for so long, and we're in Division I now. You got to play the big boys, and I thought that was an excellent game, very exciting for the home field game against Brockton. And that was one of the things too. The seniors last year were such great kids. The juniors coming up to be seniors this year are great kids. And the sophomores coming up to be juniors, and the freshmen, it's never a good time to leave, because you like the kids so much. I can't wait till I couldn't wait until some class I didn't like was coming up, because I like all the kids. So it is never a good time to leave. I wish the kids the best. I'll be following them on Friday nights, and going to my son's games on Saturdays. So I'll be around rooting them on. I'm not going anywhere.
When you mentioned that the Brockton game. And like you said, a lot of memories from the Brockton teams in the past being very good. This year, they also had a strong squad. And that game was kind of back and forth. It's the way it started, and the way you guys took control kind of in the middle. They came back, and then it goes to overtime, obviously. For you, when you think about that game, I mean, and then especially towards the end, a great ending, obviously, the interception in the end zone. Maybe take us through that a little bit. And now you're, at least for this year, your replacement coach, Cobsco. What went into drawing that play up, or where was that?
No, the assistant coaches do an excellent job. I mean, to get the game to Brockton, I think there was some missed extra points or something.
Yeah, there were a couple, I think.
Yeah, there was some kicking game issues that both teams had that put it into overtime. But, it was an exciting game, and we won. We won an overtime game in the playoffs. So, I'll remember that the rest of my life, especially since a good Brockton team. And, Severian, we played okay. We just made a couple mistakes. Against really good teams, you afforded very few mistakes. So it was a great season overall, and the kids have worked hard and come back. We have 5 captains next year. I think we're going to be really good, not to put pressure on Coach Kopsko or anything, but, it's a good team, and they're working hard have a great season.
Well, it's easy now. You don't have to deal with the pressure. You can just be like, no pressure, guys. But go out there and do your best. But you hinted at it a little bit. What now is the focus of Coach Duffy? And not having to be the coach anymore. What's going to be your main focus now?
I'm going to try not to get in Coach Kopsko's way and call him up with any ideas or anything. But I'm hoping to help out with the freshmen if I can. And just see where it goes from there. If he needs something, he'll call me, and Mr. Joe Hand's there helping out. We have a great assistant staff, and the players are awesome, and the parents are great, and the Touchdown Club has been a tremendous help to us, giving us everything we need. So all we got to do go out. They have to go out on the field and play well.
It's going to take a little bit not to say we, then they.
Yeah,
right?
I just caught myself there. Yeah.
All right. So I guess finally the other big question that fans are going to ask you is, should fans still expect to see you on that occasional Friday night on Memorial Field on the Hill?
Oh, definitely. I'm going to get to as many games as I can and root the boys on. So, the kids were asking me the same question, and I told them I'd get to every game I could. So I don't know what my schedule is, but it should be. I should be there, and it'll be emotional, I'm sure.
Hey, there's a spot. You're just saying. People are always saying, for the announcers booth, it's good to have an ex-player, ex-coach. If you want, we got a microphone waiting for you. You can go in there and throw your expertise there.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of experts up there. Mike Franny being one of them, but no, I'll be up there and rooting the boys on.
Coach Duffy, appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
Best of
Thanks
luck.
for having me.
Of course.